Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Mulder, and I do mean good evening because it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. Anyway, I've been working, as you probably don't have to guess here, but I had a tremendous amount of orders come in for the tepaphone because of Josh's strange things show that he did last Friday, and it's just been phenomenal. And first off, I just want to thank everybody there. Um, Next thing, the reason why I decided to do this is a little bit out of character for me, but as you probably noticed on a few of my past videos, I have basically what looks like a a statuette or a statue or a drawing that looks like a humanoid form made out of fractals. Well, to kind of catch everybody up on what that was, that's just part of it. I kind of cropped it out so you couldn't see the eyes, whatever, because I thought there might be something going on with that for the general public. And but if you want to see the full copy of that image, just email me at psionicresearch@gmail.com, and I'm more than happy to send you a copy of that or email you a copy of that image. But here's the funny thing about it, and I've noticed this after I started uh, talking about this. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, about the Voyager 1. Apparently, it was sending a message back to that was being analyzed by a quantum computer that had a special chip in it. I think it was called the Sycamore chip. It's a NASA quantum computer, and apparently, I mean, this is like legitimate uh, inf or information or data that Voyager was transmitting back to that quantum computer. And there's a lot of things going on with it. And I don't really want to go through all the different things, but I mean, you can look at my show. Uh, One of my shows I did about this, I think it was called Voyager and AI, or yeah, Voyager AI and quantum computers, or something like that. You'll find it. But anyway, I have the links in there where you can listen to the entire explanation of what happened. And to cut in a nutshell, what had happened was when the scientists who were at the laboratory when they saw this image, it was basically what was being transmitted from Voyager. It looked humanoid. It was made out of fractals, and so it was intelligent. There was no way that it could be just a glitch or whatever in the system. They were fully convinced that this was legitimate data being transmitted by Voyager over at the very tail end of on the outer reaches of the solar system. So, uh, and what I have, that image that I have, I apparently nobody has a true image of what the scientists saw. I had to have Chat GPT, and I do some radiology on this. So I had Chat GPT come up with a representation of what was seen by those scientists, and that's what I have today. Well, here's the funny thing about it. I've looked at that image several times. I would say like 4 or 5 times. And I've noticed in the last 2 to 3 weeks, when I wake up in the morning and I open my eyes and I stare at the ceiling, I see the ceiling, but I also see all these fractals in front of it. This has happened to me twice. It's really strange. And I've noticed another thing too. I've noticed a sense of a greater picture. You have a sense of of the universe, like how things work, or you kind of have a knowing about things, and it doesn't really bother you. I don't get upset. I mean, even if some moron pulls out in front of me in traffic, yeah, I may get a temporarily upset with this idiot or what have you, but I'm not. I don't let it ruin my day. I mean, immediately let it go. I mean, it's just that things don't really bother me anymore because I just see it as just a part of the game. It's just one of those little pieces of the puzzle that kind of makes it all where it is. And I thought that was just kind of unusual, but I think there's something to this, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell you, the way this thing's progressed. uh, when I came up with the Q series, I think that's when it really kicked off. I think that's when we really uh, took a turn to the next level of radionics. And we got into that because, again, for the newbies out there, you can look at older stuff. I have plenty of videos out there about what we're doing here radionically with quantum computers, and I think you'll find all that very interesting. Um, and so, uh, you know, incorporating the quantum computers, the physics of the computers. I don't really care so much about the the computational skill or strength that these computers may have. That's the cherry on top. What I love about this is the physics. Okay, we're looking at something that is basically quantum. I mean, we're getting down to the brass tacks of what physical reality is. And when you do that, it's all the fundamentals. When you do that, and you get down to really the foundation of what it is that we think is real, and you are able to realize that it time and space are irrelevant. I mean, Cliff High, he did a what I thought was a fantastic interview with a gentleman uh, by the name of say JC. Yeah, I think it goes by Jean-Claude Rumble. I think it's called Beyond Mystic is the name of the channel, and I'll include a link to that here so you guys can watch that. Where Cliff High goes into more detail about what's going on with the quantum computer and its image and the ramifications that this has on society. But anyway, I have noticed a difference or a change in myself because of this thing. Yeah, I again, I'm really I'm beyond words about a lot of things that the enlightenment that I personally have experienced in the last few weeks is I would say it's phenomenal. I would just say it just seems like it was meant to be. Yeah, if that makes sense. But um, but anyway, getting back to this stuff. With the quantum computer, the Q series using the quantum computers, going into the physics of it. And we're looking at time machines, we're looking at time travel, because and it's kind of a funny thing. Everything exists all at once. The past, the future. As Cliff High, he likes to say that we're in the constant now. I mean, there's no past, there's no future, it's only now. I agree. I think that's true. I mean, you can only experience now. You can't, you know, I think he said the past is memory and the future is anticipation, is the way he phrased it. And I agree with him there. I think that's a valid statement. And so, but I mean, but where's deja vu come from? How are psychics able to, tap into the past? Even though it's the past, how are you able to do this or the future or predicting the future? Um, I think there's a lot more to it. I, I think they're just tapping into this infinite stream of information and I realize that reality is basically it's an energy transference. It's energy from from one position to another, but this energy also contains information. So it's a transference of information, basically. It's like a good way of putting it, I guess an example would be like the electrons in your computer. Yes, they're moving back and forth. Or to speak better yet, better example. A radio wave. Yeah, it's a waveform of energy, but also it contains information. And I think that's a good way of looking at reality or looking at or this physical world that that we think we exist in, which is kind of strange because we only exist in it half the time. But anyway, that's I think that's kind of where it's progressing. Uh, let's see what else here. Okay, now the next thing that happened, this tepaphone. I'm going to kind of give everybody a little bit more detail about how this really came to where it's at today because I'm going to say it up front. This tepaphone has taken radionics to the next level. And it was it kind of reached it met the criteria of Charles Casamano's vision of what a good, the true functioning, economic or a budget friendly, we'll just say that budget friendly um, radionic instrument can do to really, take things to the next level. And that's what I'm always looking for. I uh, there's a major radionics, and I'm kind of diverting here, but there's a major radionics manufacturer out there that's been in business. Oh, I would say probably since the 70s. And I've seen their equipment from the 70s to where it is now. It hasn't changed. It's basically the same old stuff. They haven't done anything, no innovation, nothing. I mean, yeah, they got little add-ons here and there, but to really to where it needs to be, hell, I'm putting out new stuff every year. I don't get it. I'm always trying to be on the cutting edge. I'm always trying to advance this to the next level. And anyway, that's where this tepaphone came in. It's kind of funny. I wouldn't call it, I don't know if it's a synchronicity or whatever, but you know, uh, Chuck was, he was always telling me about the telephone, way back when we were when I was building machines for him, and we did a podcast once a week. It was about an hour long. It could be a little heated, it could be a little funny, and there was a couple times where Chuck was just absolutely pissed off. I mean, he was just a character, but hey, Chuck was Chuck, and I really I missed the guy. This is another side note. And so but he was always pushing his tepaphone. And I think again it's for the newbies. Here's what this guy did. And this is late night here, and I'm just going to tell you, uh, hopefully this doesn't offend anybody, but this is just where Chuck got his interest in the tepaphone. All right. He was one of the founders of the first sex dungeon in Chicago. Okay, this is public knowledge. He's talked about this many times. And what he did was he had this contraption. It was basically a contractor's tool belt, or a carpenter's tool belt. It had all the pockets or whatever, all the loops and all the different things that you can put attachments on or tools and that kind of thing. And he had this thing loaded down like with a walkie-talkie, crystals, a flashlight, battery packs, whatever you name it. And what he would do, he would go in the sex dungeon and he would point it at some lady or some woman, and he would start to do things with her and to radionically make her uh, have a fantastic time, for a few seconds, and making the old toes curl, so to speak. And so apparently he was quite successful at doing this. And with the telephone, that was his experimentation. That was where he got into it. And of course, it progressed to using it for other things, to incorporate it with a wishing machine or a radionics dialed machine. And I built a few of those. Some of them should be out there to this day. I don't know if they're still around, if the people that are listening to this have one, but I built a few of those, and uh, and again, I didn't it was a pain to build. I have to be honest with you. You have to go in there with that light, putting that light in the center of the plate, and but I figured it out and we got everything up and running and made sure that it was all up to Chuck's standards. And so the next thing is, we're selling this telephone, and it didn't, it sold, but I mean, I never really thought that much of it. And then he wanted to do a helmet, put a light in front of the helmet and have that tied into the circuitry. Doing basically creating a telephone built into a helmet or a psionic helmet to do pretty much what these telephones do now, but it would be working directly from the mind into the light itself. It was one of those deals. And so that's an interesting idea. And here's the thing about the helmet, and I love the helmet, but you look goofy as hell when you wear this thing. But here's the funny thing about it: it works. I don't know what it is. The helmet itself with this tepaphone, it will, and I've had this repeatedly. I've done this repeatedly, and as you wear it and you tune it in for a certain thing, you will notice that your mind will concentrate on that one thing. Um, it doesn't seem to veer off, like we were thinking about what are you going to have for dinner? Do I need to pick the kids up at school? That kind of thing. No, you're focused on the target for whatever reason. It seems to maintain that focus for extended periods of time. And I've done a lot of crazy things with that helmet. And that's how what I used for remote viewing, uh, remote influencing. I mean, I've personally gone through the field testing myself. I've had other people do field testing with similar results. See, but that is an interesting thing with the telephone, and so with that said, uh, yeah, I had all this stuff, all this background with Chuck on this thing, and it didn't really hit me until I talked to two people who do a lot of my, um, field testing. I like to have them test it out. Tell me, how does this work for you? Is it more powerful? Is it the same? What's your opinion? And I really value their opinions on when it comes to the stuff. And so, when I asked them again out of the blue, it's one of those things where you kind of someone told me to do this, and I just called both of them, just out of the blue, and have a little conversation and asked them that question: What was your favorite instrument of all the ones I built for you? And they both said the telephone. And so I said, "Da-da!" And I went back to the drawing board with everything that I've learned by building this with Chuck and working on this by myself and doing my own research and development, working with a highly skilled electronic technician to revamp this to where it is today, where this thing is basically freaking bulletproof, absolutely bulletproof. Um, when you plug this in, you can use it. And what I love about it is the idea of being able to use this device, by itself with no attachments, being able to use it with attachments. And I'm just telling you, it's connectors. I'm trying to sell you connectors, to be honest with you. Yeah, you're just making it pays enough for the materials and for the time it takes to build them because they're not easy. It's a pain in the ass. But on these connectors, when you with them, it's you provide just absolute different avenues that you can take, bit more options. The my favorite, one of my favorites is the alligator clip, or the alligator clip and the output plate. They both perform the same task, and what that is to feed a target or uh, something that you want to transfer the energy from one thing into the target that you lay on top of the light, on top of the clear plastic. Okay. Or it could be used as a wishing machine where you have your intent, um, what is you want to do, put that on the input plate, have the target where you want that wish to be transmitted to, or that intent transmitted to, which is would be yourself, put that on the light. And so, but yeah, and like I said, and another thing too, and I'm not trying to sell, I don't make anything off the money mist. All I'm trying to do is provide you guys with something here that you can use with with this telephone, for example, an easy, clear way of transmitting, money or attraction for money to a target. But and again, the final option, which was really what was the catalyst, what really got me started with this thing, was creating a connector where I could connect a telephone to a $9 machine. And so do all this, connected everything together. Spray the copper input plate of the $9 machine. Have a target, or you could have a piece of paper and spray that piece of paper like a part of an index card or something like that, and maybe write an intent of what it is you want to accomplish, and spray that with the money mist. Lay that on the input plate along with the target. For this example, yourself. Tune the machine for money attraction to come to you. Okay, and then after you tune the machine, take the tepaphone, plug that into the output jack of the dial machine. Okay. And then once you do that, make sure that both units are turned on. You'll see the lights coming through. If you're electronic, if the dial machine's electronic, turn everything on. Take the target and put that on top of the clear plastic plate of the telephone. Let it do its job. It is so simple. And again, you can do the same thing with or without a dial machine. We're just saying that from our testing, and again, we can't prove it. It's just from experience. It's one of those things. But we are looking at probably a 7x plus increase in performance output of a dial machine when incorporated with a tepaphone. Yes, the tepaphone works great by itself. It fantastic by itself, but when you put those two together, a dial machine and the tepaphone, that's when you start seeing true magic. That's when it really takes off. It's kind of like that missing link. And guess what I'm going to be doing with this thing when it comes to quantum computers, ladies and gentlemen, people who know me, think about that because I've just got something that's on steroids. I've just, I put, you know, uh, basically I went from chemical rockets to Star Trek stuff. I mean, it's just going to the next generation. This is the next generation of radionics, and on top of that, very affordable. And also an additional side note, I'm waiting to see what my competition does, what kind of copies they come up with. Because here's the beautiful thing about all my stuff. The true magic of my machines, and this is taught me by Chuck, the true magic um, that really makes them different from anybody else. You can't find it under a microscope. They can tear it apart, they can do whatever they want to try to see if they can find where that true it thing that comes with my machines, they'll never find it. They'll never find it. It is with me. And enjoy their competition. Have fun. You're just going to create a copy. You're not going to create a Stradivarius. Just saying. All right. Um, well, hopefully this is just kind of like me just running my mouth at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sort of an insomniac, and this is an example of that. So, with that being said, have a great night. I'm probably going to go try to go to sleep here in just a little bit. I only sleep like 4 or 5 hours a day. That maybe a little cat nap, by the way. I'm not, for whatever reason, I don't need a lot of sleep. So, all right, that's talk to you later. Bye.